Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, it's me Gamerturk and we got more Sword Art Online Alicization Lycoris news. I would usually instantly share the gameplay preview section and follow it up with a news drop later during the day or the day after, but sadly, YouTube does not allow me to. At least, I think they don't. They're not particularly helpful or clear as to what they deem acceptable. All in all, I now present the news together with the preview scenes, including the supposed PC system requirements. So enjoy the Kirito, Eugeo and Sortiliena Salute gameplay in the background as I talk about all the news we got from yesterday's SAO Games stream, and also talk about the gameplay. All in all, this stream was pretty much centered around Sortiliena, but before we get to that, the first bit of information we got was regarding the multiplayer, and it is good news. Well, depending on wherever you're looking from. Back in Hollow Realization days, multiplayer was quite cumbersome. If you hadn't progressed far enough in the story, you were locked out of ladder areas completely. If you joined someone high leveled as a low level, you would just get wrecked wherever they went constantly and had to be carried. With Alicization Lycoris, to access the multiplayer portion of the game, you need to complete the Human Realm arc portion of the game first. Though, of course, I don't expect clearing the Human Realm arc giving you access to the entire Human Realm. I'd wager you would be limited to Norlangard North Empire, but it simply may be that defeating Quinella is what gives you access to start exploring the full world. After that little piece of news, SAO Games lead Yosuke Futami started showcasing the demo featuring Kirito, Eugeo and Sortiliena, the one you're watching in the background. The demo is from early days in Kirito and Eugeo's first year at the Swordcraft Academy. In fact, the little story bits they showcased in the demo was the part that was adapted in Sword Art Online Alicization Lycoris manga chapter 3. It is shortly after Kirito and Eugeo arrive at the academy, get their elite disciples, Sortiliena and Golgoroso respectively, which I'll make an entire video about the manga. It has tons of stuff, background for Medina, great character moments, and these beautiful Kirito faces whenever Golgoroso shouts loudly, so subscribe for that. But yeah, Sortiliena is tasked to take care of some minor monster in the nearby field, and do remember that Lycoris is being much more liberal with its wildlife for gameplay purposes, and she is allowed to bring company to help her, so she chooses Kirito and Eugeo. However, during their casual talks, Eugeo really starts feeling nostalgic of the times the three of them went adventuring around. Of course, he does not remember Kirito and thus is baffled by the idea that he specifically remembers the event as quote-unquote the three of us, wondering who the third person who he thinks about is, since Selka never tagged along with them. So you can imagine Eugeo is really becoming more confused about his memories very early on compared to the main canon in this case. Well, both for the anime and for the light novels. Anime still glossed over a lot of remembering stuff, but still, even in the light novel, Eugeo was not remembering things so early on. He had a feeling, but that was never the focus. Seems like games will be focusing more on that front. But yeah, without going further into the contents of the manga, since I'm saving that for a future video, the gameplay demo showcases a lot of the town as well as the outside field. We are shown a map with some landmarks from Centoria towards the End Mountains. That's Cordia Plains, which is the map this gameplay takes place in. We got Wetra Valley, Lokis Rocks, Susnal Mountains, Rivalier Mountains, Lodend Mountains, and the Northern Cave, where Kirito and Eugeo faced Ugachi. Now, the fact that Zakaria, Rulit, or any other town not being mentioned in the map suggests that these are not the only maps available around. Well, either that or they are incorporated into these giant maps. We'll talk about that later. Considering Lycoris is going the Hollow Games route, I would not be surprised if there is a shit ton more maps here that is not explicitly mentioned in the big screen. Next up, we had the Sortiliena Salute character model properly revealed, both the 3D render as well as the 2D visual novel sprite, which you'll see more of in the gameplay demo. Once we leave Centoria, which is quite big on its own, we move over to the nearby open map to assist Sortiliena in her task. During the dialogue scenes though, the game is really playing hard with the idea of Eugeo's eyes are green but can look blue depending on the lighting excuse. There are scenes where one of his eyes clearly look green while the other is appearing blue due to the camera perspective and lighting that affects it. It is quite interesting honestly. Reki seems to have a point. I'm glad even these basic 3D scenes have some life into them. I prefer 2D visual novel scenes for basic dialogue in general, which this game also has plenty, but after Fatal Bullet's emote spam 3D visual novel effects, some relatively natural / toned down scenes during the course of a normal speech is definitely something I can appreciate. Considering the game is built on hollow realization, the upgrade in models and expressions is very clear. Back in HR we had some basic emotes, basic movement, which consisted of the default pose, the thinking pose, and the swords unsheathed pose. It's really great to have very expressive faces. I know we've seen these in in-engine cutscenes before already, but keep in mind these dialogues are basic visual novel scenes, not cutscenes, so I'd say that's a huge plus. There were times where the game seemingly suffered quite chunky frame drops here and there. I'm assuming that's either due to the recording software or that it's a developer build, and since Futami was not sure what to showcase in the stream just until a couple days ago, it's very likely this build was cobbled together quite hastily. One of the things I really enjoy following closely is the improvements made on the UI. On the top left we have the objective, on the left side, which is weirdly not snapped to a corner like it used to in the previous games, the system log, or the information feed better put, showcasing the recent things like item gains and the like. At first I assumed they would eventually snap it to the lower left, but looking at the footage you can see that the lower left is used for some of the party commands available at your disposal, and of course the minimap pretty much functions the same as it did back in Hollow Realization, that you can quickly open up to the right side of the screen for a better view. It's a bit weird that it doesn't act as a minimap by default on the top left, but unless you're familiar with other games who adopted this new type of minimap feature, you can see everything on the top bar, which is much less obstructive than the traditional minimap, and also you get quest arrows on the ground directing you where you have to go. We have seen that in a lot of the previous gameplay previews as well. There are also towns out in the fields. They seem to be a similar concept to the blacksmith safe zones in Hollow Realization, just expanded a lot to be proper towns, giving the map a much better open world feeling. This was what I meant when I said places like Zakaria and Rulit may be properly incorporated into large maps, because that's exactly what we see here. There are NPCs, shops, even quest givers, and while the maps are huge, you will also find these small obelisk-like thingies. They are fast travel spots. Previously we had these for every map in Hollow Realization, but with the size of Lycoris maps, they are sprinkled around everywhere as well, so make sure to activate them when you come across them. But as we come to the end of the news portion, last but not least, a website from Hong Kong has shared some system requirements for the PC version of Alicization Lycoris. Keep in mind that these are shared as the recommended specs, so requirements for you to have an optimal experience. They are not minimum requirements, but also keep in mind that the official Alicization Lycoris website has not yet shared any info on the requirements at all, so take these specs with a grain of salt as always until you hear it from an official source. But that's it from me today. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay, and please do consider supporting me on Patreon and checking out my new Lens Squad merch. Since YouTube has demonetized my channel at the moment, those would be the best ways to help me maintain my channel. As usual, a huge thanks to all patrons and those who were channel members before the demonetization. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay cool.